Hi there, my name is Brooke and I work for Olnoeg Development Group. In today's Business Minute video, I am going to be talking about the importance of credit and what the 5 C's are. So for lenders like ourselves, credit helps us to measure a client's credit worthiness if the individual or business has the ability to take on more debt and the likelihood that the debt will be paid off over time. So the 5 C's are a system of factors that determine one's credit, and it helps us to determine what the overall risk level of a loan would be. So what are the 5 C's? Well, the 5 C's are character, capacity, capital, collateral, and conditions. So the first one that we're going to touch on today is character. When we talk about character, we're talking about how stable is your business and if you have the ability to take on and repay more debt. So we would be looking at your credit history within your business, your personal credit rating, and whether or not you and your team have the core competencies related to the business opportunity that you're pursuing. So the next one we will look at is capacity. When we talk about capacity, we're talking about whether or not you can show us that your business opportunity generates enough cash to be able to repay the debt. So we would request a projected financial forecast as well as your historical financial statements to determine if you can debt service the loan. So the third one we are going to touch on is capital. This is a process of looking at what you own versus what you owe, and it's also referred to as your personal net worth. So this helps us to determine the overall project cost, and it helps us to determine what you'd be willing to provide for your own cash equity. So we at Olnoeg typically look for a minimum of 10% cash equity from each applicant. The next one we're going to touch on is collateral. Collateral is the term referred to as what you can offer to secure your loan in case you default. So this has to be an asset that you own outright. An example could be a piece of equipment you use to operate your business. So the next one and the last one that we'll be touching on is conditions. When we're talking about conditions, we're talking about what the industry itself looks like, what your business looks like in that industry, what are the barriers you'll face entering that industry, what are the growth spaces within that industry, what is your business competition, and what are the relative key success factors. So it is important to conduct market research on that industry, and it will help determine those aspects. So that's it for today. We want to thank you for taking the time to learn the importance of credit and what the 5 C's are. We look forward to having you join us next time.